So, two things here. One is the main hire process, and these steps is part of the proposed compensation hire business process. The second is these things, initiation and approval. These two are part of a separate sub-process. Okay, now tell me what will be the sequence of steps that happens. So somebody initiates, right? It goes to the HR partner for action that they're going to review. Let's call the task as review hire. So they are able to review the hire. They make sure that everything looks okay. Then, after the clicks OK, it goes to the manager for approval. Then it goes to propose compensation hire to be done by the compensation partner. After the compensation partner initiates this process, they fill up the details. Saturday details, allowances, etc. Then what happens? Will it go to onboarding or will it go to approval by manager? That's my question. Okay, the compensation partner is not doing an approval. Compensation partner is doing the proposed compensation hire. Right, where they are putting the compensation details, like salary allowances package, etc. Then, after the compensation partner fills in the compensation details, then what is the next step? Does it go for approval to the manager or straight away it goes to onboarding? It should go for approval to the manager. Why? Because the hire process has initiated a sub-process. Proposed compensation hire is our sub-process, and what is the sub-process? It is a separate business process that is triggered from within a business process. Correct. So proposed compensation hire is another business process. We have triggered that, and in that business process we have an approval step. Correct. So now the manager. How many times is the manager having to approve the same thing? Once at the beginning, like after the HR partner did the review, manager approved. Then the compensation partner proposed the compensation is doing the approval again. Correct. So instead of that, can we configure a consolidated approval? Right. Like, if you look at this process, the same person has to do it twice. Isn't it? So instead, if this is a situation, what if we remove this step? We remove this. Okay. And we go to proposed compensation hire, and here we have, let's say, a D2 or ADA step. You remember how we can use this order to insert a step between two existing steps. You see, one is D, one is E. So if I want to insert a step between D and E, I will use the order as DA. Okay. And in that DA, I will say consolidated approval, to be done by the manager. Okay. And I will consolidate this approval as well as any other approval. So now what happens? If I put a consolidated approval task within the business process, then even if my business process triggers a sub-process, this approval will be skipped. We don't need that approval. It will come back to this particular step because we have consolidated the approvals together. Alright. So this one will not happen, and it will straight away come to this step, which is a consolidated approval. Okay. So what will be the steps? Initiation. Initiation will happen, then followed by an action. What is that action? Review, hire. Review hire to be done by the HR partner. And then what happens? Proposed compensation hire. The sub-process is triggered. They do the compensation, put in the salary compensation package, etc. Click OK. The moment they click submit, it will not go for manager's approval instead. Yes, it will go, but it is part of the consolidated approval step. So we are combining the approval in the sub-process with the approval in the parent process. Okay. So it is actually done to make the process more efficient. So we look at this point. It combines multiple sub-process approvals into a single step. Okay. So that whoever is the approver has to do it only once. Or we just try to reduce the number of approvals in our entire business process. So when we configure the hire business process, where is the consolidated approval? In the hire process. So once we use the type of action as a type of the step, as consolidated approval, it doesn't stop there. It asks you to configure the consolidated approval as well. Okay. So once you do that, it will ask you, okay, which approvals do you want to consolidate? So if you go ahead and say that yes, I want to configure this one and this one together. So these two approvals are consolidated together. So then, Workday knows that for this hire business process I will not take this other, I will not take this approval. I will straight away. I have to go to the consolidated approval. You have to configure it as a different step. As an additional step, I would say. Right. You have to configure that and then Workday knows. And I need to skip the approval. It would rather go to the consolidated approval. And otherwise it will give you an error. The business process. If you are using a consolidated approval step and if you do not configure it, Workday will throw an error saying that you have not configured the consolidation. Okay. So you have to consolidate which all approvals you are putting together. So no, Workday will not allow you to miss that.